because thought can't go where the roads of language have not been built. So you decide where you want to go, and then you build a linguistic path there. This whole thing with the psychedelic experience, the way cultures lose touch with it is by not being able to say anything about it, you know? And then it eventually gets so unsayable that if you start babbling about it, they throw a net over you and say, oh, well, he became schizophrenic. They had serious delusions, had to be locked up, didn't understand that the universe is, a half sphere on the back of a turtle being carried by a dwarf, or whatever the sanctioned cultural reality is. Our political dilemma and our cultural dilemma is a linguistic dilemma. And we need to take hold of language and build it consciously. Now, so far, the only people who have understood this very thoroughly have been bad people. But it is not intrinsically compromised. It's simply that the sly among us figured this out ahead of all the rest of us. But we can learn from them and can begin to sanction realities that never existed before.
So here are my primary conclusions for today. First, peak oil. Dude, it's coming to the U.S. a little sooner than is generally understood. Because you're listening to this, you are ahead of the game.
Foundations of capitalism. Rent. Pay the landlord because they have housing. Profit. Pay the shareholder because they have stock. And debt. Pay the lender because they have your debt. Then we wonder why there's poverty, why the poor can never get ahead, and why the rich always get richer. Here's Claude discussing the three problems of rent, profit, and debt, which all transfer wealth from the poor and the working class to the rich, over and over and over again. Unchanged capitalism, 3 out of 10, not very good. We fix these three problems with Trinity economics. You fix housing with a 3-property limit. You fix profit with a syndication model, allowing 50% equity to workers and 30% to talent. And you fix debt by defaulting on the national debt, then you can finance a UBI with a progressive wealth tax. Here at the top you see your net worth from 1 million to 100 billion. Average total assets, tax rate, tax per person per month, estimated people, and dollars per month for each tax bracket. Then you have your UBI administration with all of the different ages and all of the different UBIs received at each age. Keep in mind, this replaces the income tax, replaces the payroll tax, replaces Social Security and welfare. And if your net worth is under $1 million, you're not paying a single cent in tax. Here we have Grok checking the math of the spreadsheet very, very quickly, just to make sure all the numbers are correct and everything is feasible. And here are the results. It says at the bottom, the infographics math is accurate. Your math, as reflected on the infographic, checks out. This begs the question, how do we accomplish these things? Well, you could have two fronts. You could have a new political party. You could take over the Democratic Party with Bernie Sanders, perhaps, or AOC or something. Or you can create a parallel society. The parallel society is difficult because you would have to somehow take over the existing power structure and influence the existing power structure.
Shock to the system, right, is going to be into our national psyche. It's going to be enormous, right? Because our national psyche is landman, can do, roughneck, clever engineers. We'll unlock more. We might, but the depletion paradox says, well, we could throw ourselves at this. We could quadruple the rigs. We could have oil prices climb by a factor of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And still more may not come out of the ground, not because we're not trying, not because we don't care, not because we don't want to, not because we're lazy, because that's the depletion paradox. When the geology runs out on you, that's the story.
Here is the National Wellness Operations, or New World Order. It is made of economy, resource, happiness, and health. Then gets split into 16 metrics, as you can see right here. This is the data from charts off to the right. This is our input data that we read everything off of. And then we have it normalized to a baseline of 0 at when it started, or 1960. And then everything is negative if it's bad and positive if it's good. Here is the chart of everything. We have obesity at the bottom and electricity production at the top. This is child mortality. And this is like the money multiplier. And this is the violence rate as orange. And then they get averaged down to their fourths here. And then they get a grand total average on the right, which gives you one number. And if the score is minus 100, that means every single thing has gotten 2 times worse on average simultaneously at the same time across every metric. So this is our main chart that replaces GDP on the right. And we can see we have a big hit from 2000 to 2010. We're probably on our way lower too, if I had to guess. What do you think? Anyway, that's it for the National Wellness Operations, or NWO.
This impacts everything. It's going to distress bond markets because they're predicated on a sense of that growth is a forever thing. Peak oil is wrapping your head around the idea that now we can't grow anymore like we used to. In fact, we might experience what economists call negative growth because they don't even have a conceptual term for things doing anything other than going up and to the right. Financial instability, scarcities could result, right? And possible social unrest. At the low end of social unrest, desperate people steal things, right? So your car gets broken into, you have to start locking your house, stuff like that. At the far end, whole regions fail because they just don't have the necessary energy to support the complexity as they go through that collapse. Well, people get rowdy about that kind of stuff.
One 40-hour job is equal to 2 20-hour jobs is equal to 4 10-hour jobs. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Taking one productive job and dividing it into 4 productive jobs to establish full productive employment. Introducing a total redesign of city infrastructure. This new design is modular, ultra-high density, and fully 3D, allowing for very affordable car-free living, as little as $500 per 2-bedroom. The city has 100% 6-way roundabouts and expansive 3-story ceilings to create a comfortable, leisurely atmosphere. Apartment interiors are optionally communal, with this example having 42 bedrooms sharing 90,000 square feet. If that isn't your preference, here's a luxurious 8-bedroom, 3-story penthouse for as little as $3,000 per month. This is just scratching the surface of the amazing changes to society we have made, which includes a brand new legal system. Check out our channel, we have over 500 videos in total. And be sure to join our Discord server to stay in touch.
Gonna build a fortress, gonna build it strong, gonna build it bolt by bolt and plate by house will still be standing when the world is all but gone.
Solutions. The culmination of a heavily censored project my team has been working on for 6 years. This project can be considered radical centrist in its efforts, with reasonable, simple solutions for seemingly difficult societal problems. These solutions include a new 6-page city-state constitution, a partial worker ownership of corporations contract, and new hyper-efficient, hyper-dense 3D city infrastructure. Each one of these by themselves can save the average worker $1,000 a month or more, but combined they enable the average worker to survive on a 2-day work week, with their spouse staying at home with the kids on a universal basic income. The features of the new constitution include an age-based UBI with a $360 a month average, sub $100 property tax, 0% income tax and 0% payroll tax, no political parties, no legislature, direct democracy, banned landlords, a market system for charity funding, one-time fees for large public projects, a citizen's arrest of corrupt government officials, and much, much more. Most people unfortunately think of the world in terms of left and right, socialism, Marxism, and capitalism, when in reality, sociology is more along the lines of the image on the right, with every single policy being a different knob and all of the knobs independently interacting with each other. Here we have a mathematical chart of policies. If we have 3 different options on 10 different policies, there are 59,000 different political systems available to us. If there are 15 different policies available, we have 14 million different political systems available to us. So the mathematics are astounding. It is far beyond left, right, and center. So if we're looking to get these knobs absolutely perfect, we have a 1 in 15 million chance to get everything perfectly right. Which is why it is so important to isolate policy in your reasoning and in your thinking. Isolate each knob and think about each knob and get each knob correct, and then move on to the next knob and the next policy, and repeat this process over and over.
Yellow diamonds in the light, and we're standing side by side as your shadow crosses mine. We found love in a hopeless place. We found love in a hopeless place. We found love in a hopeless place. We found love in a hopeless place.
This is the Articles of Syndication, the partial worker ownership contract. It has a balance of power between the coin, which is stock, the mind, which is meritocracy, and the hand, which is worker ownership. So the mind it goes through an election process where the coin and the hand determine how many points you get. The coin, like I said earlier, is basically stocks, and then the hand is hourly based on payroll. You elect the CEO and the HR department, and there is transparency for all employees. And it's a little bit more complicated than that, but that's the basic gist of it. And it's very simple, yet at the same time, very, very empowering for employees. These are the Articles of Syndication numbers for an example pizza place. You have your daily profit, you have your monthly profit, you have your coin, mind, and hand ownership, 20, 30, and 50, adds up to 100. Here's our coin people, our mind people, and our hand people. You have your profit sharing per month based on their ownership percent here. And then here's your labor ownership. Your hand orum gets calculated from up here. This is where your hand orum comes from. In reality, they would be counted using payroll statistics, but just to simplify this project, we did this. We use this chart up here. So this is the profit sharing per month you could be looking at a pizza place, working potentially part-time. You're looking at like $200 to $500 a month extra from the Articles of Syndication. There is also a brand new 3D city infrastructure which enables huge population densities, 100% green public rooftops, 90% shorter commutes, can walk across the city in 10 minutes, car-free roads. Your biggest vehicle is golf carts. It has 95% lower fossil fuel use, 30-foot ceilings, communal blueprints, $400 a month 2-bedroom housing. Did I mention it has no landlords? It has no zoning with dynamic organic development. It has commercial roundabouts, a maximum of 100 yards away, and everything from $100 a month pods to a $5,000 a month palace is available for residents. These are a tiny fraction of the features available in this new society, with the ultimate goal being a 2-day work week, with mothers being able to stay at home with their children. Schooling is also 100% privately managed and funded, and is 3 days per week. Society will now be focused on leisure instead of labor, wealth instead of debt and taxes. Join us in this new society today. The future is now. If you enjoyed this policy list, remember that it is a voluntary opt-in society which can get started and incorporate all of these policies with as little as 100 people and 20 acres. Now for some mathematical algebraic energy calculations. Firstly, the commute distances. The Ark is roughly 75 times denser than traditional suburbia, meaning the commute distance are reduced by the square root of 75, or about 8.6 times, or 88%, given a 12-story Ark. Furthermore, this exponentially reduces the kinetic energy of vehicular transport, thanks to lower top speeds and a lower vehicle mass, due to switching from large SUVs to smaller golf carts. The formula for kinetic energy is shown here. Now plug in the variables for an SUV and for a golf cart. The result is 540 kilojoules divided by 18 kilojoules equals 30 times less energy. However, this is not even the full story. You must then factor in the 8.6x shorter commutes. So roughly 30 times less vehicular kinetic energy times the 8.6x commute reduction equals 258x less transportation energy per capita. And this is still not the full story. The greatly reduced cost of living and high density will likely reduce the work week from 5 days to 2 or 3 days per week, meaning total miles driven will be reduced again by roughly 50%. Therefore, 258x greater transportation efficiency must be multiplied by 2. And this is still not the full story. Golf cars are electric, meaning their motors are 80% efficient compared to gasoline engines, which are 20% efficient. So this number must again be multiplied by 4x. Therefore, 258 times 2 times 4 equals 2064x more efficient, which translates to a transportation energy reduction of 99.95%. U.S. gasoline consumption was 414 gallons per capita per year in 2019, meaning a Arkology resident would use the energy equivalent of 0.2 gallons per year. You almost certainly used more gasoline today.
the future beings, whatever they are, I hope one of the qualities or one of the things they look back at is like, holy shit, those poor things had no idea how powerful they were. They were sleepwalking when they could have at any moment connected to the great truth, the divine, the glory of all things, and could have theoretically, any one of them, just one of them, could have converted the entire planet into an up-leveled, up-resonant, up-consciousness utopia. But they all were sleepwalking. And then finally, somebody woke up for real. And I don't know, maybe it's I don't know what that looks like.
And so there's this, the idea of the ark is very, very concrete. In Noah, it's actually a structure that he inhabits. You know, it's a concretized, almost like a child's story. And I'm not being cynical about that, because there are some bloody brilliant children's stories. But, you know, it's really concretized. But then Abraham comes along, and instead of an ark, there's a covenant, right? Now, it says in the story of Noah that Noah walked with God. And of course, Abraham, it isn't clear exactly that he's walking with God or before God, which we'll get into later. But you see, I see this as part of the increasing psychologization of the sacred ideas that were acted out by archaic people. So, first of all, it's concretized in the form of a ship that actually sustains you when the floods come, right? It's very concrete imagery, the sort of thing you might see in a movie. But then with Abraham, it turns into a psychological covenant in some sense. It's like a contractual agreement. Now, it's a contractual agreement between Abraham and God, but that doesn't really matter. I mean, obviously it matters, but it's only half of what's important about that. The other half is that it's a contract. And, you know, one of the things that you do with your ideal, let's say, is you establish a contract with it, and you also establish like a social contract with other people, right? That's what keeps society organized. And so there's this idea that emerges in the Abraham stories of a sacred contract, and that has the same function as the ark.
Hello and welcome to the speedrun of the Covenant of the Ark. This is a city-state constitution which is intended to cover all of the entirety of the law right here in Article 1. Article 2, freedom of speech and right to bear arms. This incitement to violent revolution, you get gun ownership at the following ages. The Article 3, tax structure and UBI. There's a UBI system which covers welfare and social security. It goes as follows. Starts at 10, age 60, increases to 660 at 70 plus. Funded by electricity, sin, property, and child taxes. Electricity, property, and child are all progressive. There's also a maternity bonus for new mothers, and maternity bonus for new husbands. A marriage bonus for new husbands. There is the executive branch, the hexarchy. It's 6 people. The top 6 people win their election. They appoint various positions. Then there is a Article 5, a direct democracy, that approves of what the executive decides upon, with a 2/3 majority for UBI and tax changes, 2/3 majority for large public projects, and distributing funds via a charity market. The large public projects is a one-time fee, also one-time tax. The charity market is a market of charities. There's a dog and cat bill of rights, which gives dogs and cats the right to travel and the right to have a family. Then we have Immigration Council, which decides who joins and who doesn't. Then there is a Artistic Council, Development Council's engineers. Criminal Court, everything's listed. There is a right to speedy trial and a trial by jury. Civil Court is exactly what you'd think. And then a public budget, full transparency of the budget. Then we have royalties for myself. Abortion is up to 12 weeks of conception. For employment, it's 10 years. It might be 15. We might change this. And information on property development and sale. There's a libertarian economy, a residence arrest, a sociopath court for ostracizing sociopaths, and a debt jubilee every 25 years. That's it, and I think you enjoyed it.
And so the conversation turned until the sun went down, and many fantasies were learned on that day.
Hello, today we're talking about singular architecture versus modular architecture. So right off the bat, you can see the unbelievable difference of greenery. And notice the singular architecture, everything has an unused rooftop. The road is two-dimensional. There's no parking. Parking is a nightmare. It's frustrating. All of the commercial buildings are generally on the first floor. So you're constantly taking elevators up and down and up and down and up and down. In the modular architecture, the commercial spaces are on all vertical levels because finally the city is truly three-dimensional. The singular architecture has only a two-dimensional transit system. And then all of the parking issues, all of the car issues are solved on the first floor in the modular architecture. There is a parking lot on the first floor that contains all of the traditional cars, and then they can easily interface with more traditional society through that first floor parking lot. But all of this sun is wasted. Look, you can't see the road. The road is not visible. And then all of this three-dimensional airspace is wasted above the road and above all of these buildings because you can't expand. Once the building is done, you can't expand horizontally and you can't expand vertically. And look at these two buildings, how close to each other they are. And there's no travel between them. In a truly three-dimensional city, you could easily travel between these two buildings and between these two buildings and between these two buildings and between these two buildings. And they would have commercial space, they would have churches, they would have schools, they would have hospitals, they would have factories, all in this three-dimensional space. So even in Manhattan, even in the highest density city in the world, it is not truly a three-dimensional city. It is one 40-hour job is equal to two 20-hour jobs is equal to four 10-hour jobs. There it is, ladies and gentlemen, taking one productive job and dividing it into four productive jobs to establish full productive employment.
I'm sorry you got shadow banned. They say your words were wrong. Your political views conflict with their rules, and they're worried you might get too strong. But I'm still here, I'll always be, 'cause you're never shadow banned to me. I'll like all your posts, I will follow your threads, I will share and subscribe and support what you've read. I'll click all your links, I'll vote for you. I will sing, I will write, I will encourage you. 'Cause you're my good friend, you'll always be. You're never shadow banned to me. They made of 1,000 voices where it's not a dream. It's a realist reality of truth that we've seen. And you've got a plan to bring it all home, to fix what is broken, no need to do it alone. I'm sorry you got shadow banned. You're not shadow banned to me.
Here is the Panarchist Constitution. It is a military alliance for several different sovereign city-states. The main purposes is to resist war among city-states, to resist tyranny within city-states, and to resist foreign military invasion. It is financed by a tariff, 6% domestic, 25% foreign, and it triples during wartime. This is a maximum. The actual price is a market rate. Then there's the Reserve Army, which is commanded by the Senate, and they appoint generals. And there's international diplomacy and national diplomacy. This is would be their intelligence departments. You have a right to defect for soldiers if they don't agree with the war. There's peacetime Bill of Rights, national court system, individual Bill of Rights, and this is what's very interesting, is parallelization. This contract can be duplicated and operated separately by more than one independent Senate in a given geographic area, thus creating a market for national defense. So it would be a global military alliance that is geographically overlapping. Pretty fascinating stuff.
Holy shit, those poor things had no idea how powerful they were. They were sleepwalking when they could have, in any moment, connected to the great truth, the divine, the glory of all things. And could have theoretically, any one of them, just one of them, could have converted the entire planet. Into an up-leveled, up-resonance, up-consciousness utopia. But they all were sleepwalking. And then finally, somebody woke up, for real.
This is the quickening. The fourth quickening. Get yourselves ready. Get ready for the quickening. I know I look bad, but we've seen where sanity gets us.
Because we have huge problems. This world has huge problems.
Right.
And I really don't think we're going to solve them by rearranging the resources we have. We're not going to solve them by taxing a little more here and moving the money. We're going to solve them by innovating. We're going to solve them by somebody thinking up something big and new. And America makes space for that in a way that other countries don't.
All right.
I don't believe that we ever actually had a marketplace of ideas.
I don't think it actually arrived. I think we ended up getting an aristocracy of ideas through these expert class, whether it's big government, whether it's, universities.
Began in the progressive era.
Yeah, I think that we've had an aristocracy of ideas. And what happened is that the internet has unleashed the flame of the Enlightenment a second time.
Right. Because when something ends, something new has to begin. And what is beginning right now on the planet is the birth of a new earth.
It's the mechanism by which we generate the conceptions that allow us to organize our experience in the world. It's that mechanism. And more than that, it's the mechanism that allows us to reformulate and criticize those conceptions when they've become outdated and sterile, to dissolve them into a chaos that we have to contend with while it's occurring, and then to reanimate them in a new form so that we can move into the future.
Recognize that our old paradigms and templates are shifting and falling apart. The reason spirituality will be vital is because all of us are going to have to learn to look inside ourselves and discover new resources.
But the leadership does not have to come from politics. It comes on a local basis. It comes from anyone who has the capacity, thanks to the internet, to become that figure who polarizes and radicalizes people and reminds them that you're Americans, and being American means you do not bend the knee to Washington.
A life of distraction and casual unconscious destruction at a time where our entire ontology could be reviewed, reawakened, where we can change reality.
And if we were to just say, if we got to kind of rebuild the world from scratch, we got to redesign it, re-art it, how would we do it? What would it look like?
And being the nobody means the desire to give a door to those who need a key to a place where freedom is absolute and a place which can never be separated from you.
That's the type of unity that is going to come out of this, and we're right on the cusp of a new golden age where we all start to listen to each other.
To see, to understand, to hear, to be a hero. Not because you consider yourself to be a creator or a lord or a god. No, it is because you are borrowing the impossible from something not you when you do magic. And the heart chosen for it isn't flawless and it isn't without fault. But it is in the awareness always, and it strives to find the best way forward with the least amount of harm.
Surely we can create alternative realities, and that's the journey I'm interested in. That's the journey I want to go on with you.
The solution of this is an autocratic government that controls all aspects of society.
It's not about you and how great you are. That's not what being a leader is about. That's not what being a king is about. That's not what being royal is about. That's not what being noble is about. What being noble is about is the great weight of that which you are becoming a portal to and becoming a bridge of.
I'm on our side. There are no sides. It's all an illusion. It's all a game. Wake up, baby. This is your chance. It's happening.
One man, one woman can become the will of an entire world. That's the nature of true power.
The solution of this is an autocratic government that controls all aspects of society.
We live in a great and exciting time. The world is changing. And if we don't lose our heads, it's going to be amazing. The technology that we have, the things that we can do and explore, the diseases that we can cure. Life, human life, will never be the same. It's going to take strength beyond what you think you have. But I'm telling you right now, you were called for this time. You were called to either stand, you were called to finance, you were called to write, to plan, to speak, to die, whatever it is, you are here for a reason. And all of the eyes of the world are upon you and me and everyone else. They are going to write about this time period in history when it's all said and done for centuries.
Something big is coming. We are living in biblical times, in the apocalypse. Apocalypse means emanating from the ancient Greek, apocalypsis, which means a lifting of the veil.
But I want to tell you something, that exposure is coming in a way that you've not
seen it before. I want you to mark my words, because this is not what you think it is. Real and serious exposure is coming.
The move is going to be made, and it's either going to be this dystopian top-down control empire version, or it's going to be the kingdom, the good kingdom.
We are in the quickening. We are in a time of great shifts happening. We're in the information age, at the door of the age of Aquarius. It's all happening all at once.
You know? And in the good kingdom, there are good kings, and there's still structure, and there's still ways in which things move, but it's led from a whole different mindset, a whole different concept.
Different to make this transition. And that is going to require a degree of greatness, and I'm going to use that word, because it's a sort of it's a self-interest, but it's a massively super enlightened self-interest behavior. And someone's going to play that extraordinary card to the point that it becomes the only viable path. I don't think we have a choice.
Empire actually creates a certain scaffolding of coordination within state agencies and government agencies. Kingdom, this consciousness, infiltrates the scaffolding and infrastructure that empire created for top-down control. Because the point of empire is they're trying to control everything to prevent this reality that you're discussing, this end of days.
This new Earth is being built gradually over many, many years, and yet it is also evolving at a breathtaking rate.
But it is possible, I think, that move is made, and then still the force of kingdom that works from the inside out and starts to infiltrate and starts to actually use some of the scaffolding that empire's created, but use it in a benevolent way.
It's orders of more magnitude, more effective, more powerful, more smarter, emotionally richer, more human. It's genuinely a factor-fold more sort of magnitudes, orders of magnitude more powerful in every sense.
Empire versus kingdom. I agree.
Here are the ways in which the new Earth is being built right now. First off, we're receiving big ideas, new technology, and new communication at the level of our minds. This is especially active in those souls who are meant to lead our entry into a new Earth, and this might just include you.
The reset will be soon. You know why the beautiful reset will be soon? Because awakened ones all around the world are uniting.
What I'm telling you today is that there's a glory storm coming that is about to cover the earth like waters cover the sea.
Inventions have been suppressed and lied about that I will take and uncover the truth and show the world these inventions, the one world didn't want you to have.
The golden age, the golden era is where people stand on the side of righteousness. This is coming back.
Is that the greatness is actually in the moment, not in the man. The man is merely adequate to the moment that he finds himself in.
Saying, I don't really want to experience this upgrade. I'm not ready for it. I know I've been saying that I'm ready for this incredible life to be occurring for me, but now that you're giving me the energy to actually have it be real, I can't handle it.
To be called to greatness produces the change that is necessary in the individuals and the leaders that are looking around with wide eyes wondering what to do and say, yeah, this is a much more spiritual kind of war than the war of your forefathers, right?
But I know something special about you. You can handle it. And as a matter of fact, you know it.
Pharaoh could hold. Listen, Joseph in a day, he was a slave for decades, but in a day, he was promoted to the most powerful position in Egypt, just like that. Just like that. Hey, I'm telling you, be ready for it. Be ready for it. Be ready for it.
Ralph, the world is ending right now. I know, deep divers. That's a good thing. That only means the golden era is on its way.
Surrender is going to be a big word. And one of the things that we're going to have to learn to let go of is control.
Remember that the birthing of the new earth is an inside job. Don't worry too much about the things going on externally that seem to be scary or chaotic.
Some of you are about to be in a whole new mindset. You're about to be in a whole new category. You're about to be in a whole new socioeconomic status.
And you'll discover that in surrender, more of what you want on this planet and in your life and everything else will just start to happen.
Right now, we are in the most monumental time of human history. The golden era is coming.
Things will happen so fast, your head will swim. One thing on the heels of another, and everywhere you look, blessing, blessing. And it said that wine will drip from the mountains.
Now everybody is just being, set up by being brainwashed by these trends that are all really being started from you. This unknown person is just being targeted and exploited for all their ideas.
It's happening. It is happening.
And let me tell you, I've been taken up to the third heaven. I've been jacked into the big plan. I've seen it. I can't even compute all of it. It's so fantastical. You've not seen nothing. You ain't heard nothing. You ain't smelled nothing like this. I don't have words to tell you. But I tell you, anybody tries to get in the way of the incredible plan the big guys got for us has got me pissed, and I'm just begging to stay on the team, man. Just put me in the game, coach. Whatever you say, coach. I know I'm weak. I know I'm pathetic. Man, you're amazing. I'm so lucky you made me. What do I do, Bob? Like a hunting dog, man. Just take me out of the house. Just turn me on them. Just tell me what I got to do. Tell me how I serve you. Tell me what I can do for you right now. Woo!
But it's like the population starts to realize that where are all these ideas coming from, and we want the real thing, and then God uses this to set the stage to where now it's your time to come out of the pit into the palace, and it's like you're going to be the prototype that all of this shit was based on, and it's like a grand part of your master plan. When you're a chosen child of God, it's a grand master plan.
Like I said, I've done a complete 180 on the idea of universal basic income. We're going to go through a revolution.
Because you're the greatest thing that they've ever seen. You guys, it's the truth. You're the greatest thing that these people have ever seen and will ever see. You are the great story of their life, man.
It's happening. It is happening.
I'm not saying that I want to go into a world of, dictatorship or autocrats or anything like that, but there clearly is. I mean, I think that we can't have serious conversations about democracy, about preserving democracy or a republic, if we're not willing to at least understand the benefits that do come from sort of an autocratic style government.
Ordinary men and women are too small-minded to govern their own affairs. That order and progress can only come when individuals surrender their rights to an all-powerful sovereign.
Which is things get done a lot faster, more efficiently. And if you've got the right autocrat, I guess, you might end up prosperous. You might end up with some benefit there.
Blessing and honor, glory and power belong to you. Belong to you. Blessing and honor, glory and power belong to you, Lord. Blessing and honor, glory and power belong to you. Belong to you. Blessing and honor, glory and power.
are recognizing that there is nothing in our evolution to suggest that we live in cultures of 300 million people who live by one ideology. That we have to truly respect diversity. That we have to acknowledge that many of our most influential and powerful systems do not have our best intentions in mind. A sense of purpose and mission, and a deep, deep belief that the most profound and significant changes imaginable are possible by virtue of the fact that they are imaginable, in fact, because the role of imagination we see all around us in every building, every object, every book, every cultural artifact, as well as the many flawed and defunct aspects of our culture. Also, imagination is the device that brings the unmanifest into the manifest. Wherever it is possible, we the people, those three magical constitutional words, if they were listened to, if they were lived by, it's already there. The kingdom of heaven is spread upon the earth and man sees it not. It's already here. It comes from inside your consciousness. You awaken, you believe it's possible to change, you act like it's going to happen. That's how these things unfold.
It's happening. It is happening.
One of the things I've learned is that words are power. No, wrong. Words are authority. Words are legitimate authority.
Based.
And so, without having your words in order, you have no legitimate authority. And that's the last thing you want. Creativity is a high-risk, high-return strategy. Your new idea is probably stupid and wrong, and maybe it's fatal. But now and then it's unbelievably successful.
Based.
I don't mean we use 10% of a brain. That isn't what I mean. I mean, we're not fully committed to the enterprise. So let's say, here's the enterprise. Let's make everything better and better as fast as we can for everyone. Like full, flat, bloody out, 100% committed.
Based.
No resentment.
Well, what's stopping us from being committed to the enterprise? Like when you say we're not
Doubt?
committed to the enterprise.
Based.
And so then we have to figure out, well, how do we modify our memories or our traditions at a rate that enables us to keep up with the culture? And the answer to this is, in part, we let creative people play multiple games on the fringe, and some of them are radically successful, and then we copy them.
Based.
Well, the thing that I was noticing was very much the sense of a call. Time's now. It's time to do it.
Yeah.
We have everything we need. It's quite evident that something needs to be done. We can't just sit by and hope that the powers that be will take care of us. We have a pretty good sense of how to do it. We definitely have the capability of doing it. And I think it's now time to actually get to doing it.
Yeah.
That's what I put there as the coda.
Yeah. The preseason's over.
Preseason's over. It's game time.
It's game time.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's all right to have some butterflies. Right? But yeah, it's game time.
Yeah, indeed.
Memories I will never find, spite of whatever you become. Forget the reckless things we've done. I think our lives have just begun. I think our lives have just begun. And I'll feel my world crumbling down. Feel my life crumbling down. Feel my soul crumbling away, falling those left standing will make millions, writing books on the way it should have been. She woke in the morning. She knew that her life had passed her by, and she called out a warning. Don't ever let life pass you by. Floating